All right, folks, thank you for being patient. Thank you for being persistent. Thank you for being tenacious. This is our last conversation over 3 days. We're here at the ASU GSV Innovation Summit, and with me is Wendy LeDuc. Wendy, you and I began our 3 days in this black box, and we're going to end the 3 days in this black box. You've been out on the show floor and in hallway conversations a little more than I have.
Because you've been in the black box.
I've been in the black box. They won't let me walk the floors.
Right.
So. We've talked a couple of times, you and I, both publicly and privately. I've had this conversation with a number of folks here. So 3,500 people this year versus last year. They added 500, were able to bring in some 500 school superintendents and other K-12 folks, and also a comparable number, college presidents as well. What's your sense of, what's the buzz this year at this conference? Are there one, two, or three things that sort of jump out at you in terms of being here this year, other than the fact we're in San Diego as opposed to Phoenix?
Well, I much prefer San Diego, but
okay.
we will discuss that. But I think everybody, as in a general way, is really, really grateful for the opportunity to be here and have the conversations that have been going on since we've been together for 3 days.
Actually, I should interrupt you to say we too are grateful that particularly GSV allowed us in on very short notice to be able to do these programs. So, and to our thanks to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who provide a little bit of financial support to help underwrite some of our costs.
Very much
so.
Thanks,
thank you to
guys.
Michael Mose. Thank you to Deborah Quazzo. Thank you to the Gates Foundation.
Yes.
So,
the educators in particular who had not had the opportunity to attend an event like this, they've been to other industry events, have been very excited and I think somewhat invigorated to be included in the discussions that have been happening here and kind of have the takeaway of, wow, there were some really different ways of looking at things. And they don't feel as excluded as they have historically. On the corporate side, everybody that I've run into is just so happy with all 3 days. They feel that this is the most productive conference that they attend during the year. Everybody that I've talked to has said that they plan on attending next year. Which is great for GSV and ASU. And basically it's very upbeat, and even after 3 days of a lot of meetings, a lot of talking, everybody's still talking and invigorated.
Yeah. One of the things that was striking to me about the number of the folks that K-12 and higher ed officials that we brought into the box is that they were not just walking the hallways, but a number of them were also invited to be on panels and do presentations.
Yes.
So there was, it was more than just come join us and wander. It was come join us and participate, which I think is quite striking and probably very good all the way around in terms of helping also to introduce and elevate a number of those folks to a much larger audience.
Well, and I think it's really important for the startups and the new businesses to understand the education side of the story and understand how important it is to include them in conversations prior to product development and marketing and strategic decisions. It's just much better for everybody, and I think that came through loud and clear this year.
I'm going to take a moment, if you'll allow me. I'm going to recap a couple of what I thought were some of the highlights. You were out on the floor, I was in the box. So I've asked you about some of the highlights. Let me tell you about some of the highlights from the conversations I've had. We've had some 31 conversations Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon. Some of the striking things, I would point, for example, to the conversation with Michael Crow from ASU. When I asked him about the Starbucks initiative, essentially baccalaureates for baristas. And he acknowledged that the secret sauce is not the technology, but in fact it's the user support, that kind of a tech-enabled high touch that makes the difference. And that was the issue of training and user support, not just for the end users, but for the faculty in both K-12 and higher ed. Acknowledged by President Crow, but also acknowledged by a lot of others who are effectively bringing technology resources and services, but ultimately it's the end user experience of, can I make this work? And I see myself doing it, and I think it was quite striking. I think the conversation with Ted Mitchell, Undersecretary of Education, had a light touch when he acknowledged he has an app on his phone that tells him he's 270 days yesterday, 269 days today, but we're still working and we expect to be here. And even was able to respond to a question about if I gave you another 270 days, in addition to what the priorities are, would you add a couple? He had some interesting responses to stand out. I think also the conversation with Deborah Quazzo, and I don't mean to sound pandering, her acknowledgement that this event began with 300 folks in a cafeteria at ASU. It's grown by a factor of 10 in a very short period of time, but particularly the effort in recent years to bring in folks who are in education so that it's a conversation with as opposed to a conversation about makes a striking difference.
I mean, huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Yeah. And there are others. Actually, I'm thinking about the conversation right now as well with Melissa Davis from Going Outs, who said that what began as kind of a hobby, she was a film producer and had built a website with her sister, who's also her business partner, that really looked like it might provide an interesting opportunity for high school students to go beyond just announcing that I'm graduating or doing a gift registry, to essentially build a portfolio to complement and supplement the essays in the high school transcripts becomes interesting as well. The kind of odd moment of serendipity and opportunity that begins to emerge for a number of the aspiring entrepreneurs here.
And they've done a fantastic job in being able to articulate those opportunities into businesses. And it's really exciting to talk to all the young people that are here and hear what their vision and their passion and their dreams are for education.
All right, I think you and I are probably running on fumes at this point. It's been a long conference. So we're going to thank all of you who have been with us for some or part of this. We're going to get the videos out on this as quickly as possible. They'll be at eSchool Media through the eSchool News and eCampus News. We'll be posting them and some supplemental resources. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues that we're here, that we did this, and hopefully we'll be able to join you next year from ASU GSV as well. Thank you for joining us. Our thanks also to Shindig, our partner, in terms of the enabling technology. And for all of you who are giving us quick text messages right now saying thank you very much, our thanks for that acknowledgement as well.
Take care.
Great. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.